Music Summer Results Day support session. Just a few things first. The first thing to do is just to check that everyone can hear me. So in your icon bar, you should have a raise hand icon. So if you can hear me, if you can click on that now. Just give people a couple of seconds to do that. Just typing a message into the chat box as well. So there we go. So yeah, if you do have any problems with audio during the session, the first thing to do is to try logging out and then logging back in. That will usually fix most problems. So looks like everyone's okay, so I'll just lower the hands there as well. So the session is being recorded, and I'll post the recording up on the Pearson Music community pages probably early next week. You can find a link to the community pages in the slides for this session, and the slides are available in the materials section to download now as well. So first of all, we'll look at results day information. Obviously this year is going to be a bit more unusual, and it's just going through some of the details around that to help you prepare. So for this year, the results for BTECs are going to be released on Thursday. Normally they can be released to learners on Wednesdays in normal years, but this year it's going to be a Thursday, so it falls in line with A-levels and GCSEs as well. So results can be released to students from 8 AM. Up until results day, centres aren't allowed to share any information around the centre assessment grades or rank orders as well. There has been some guidance issued by JCQ and the ASCL to help centres prepare for results day, so there's links to those bits of guidance there as well. And the other thing that's different for BTECs this year is the results for internally assessed units for BTECs will be happening during July and August on a kind of rolling basis, and you can find that in edXL Online as well, and there's a link to the last results, the qualification bulletin that came out on the 21st of July, which has that information in as well. So the first round of internally assessed results are being released this week, I believe. So you may start to see some of those results for internally assessed units appearing on edXL Online for your centre. As I said as well, this year is going to be slightly different, and there's obviously some things that can't be done due to the situation with the assessments this year. So there will be things that aren't available that would normally be, and the first of those is grade boundaries. So obviously none of the external assessments for BTECs were sat, and therefore no grade boundaries for those units have been produced, because grade boundaries are always based on how that cohort has performed in that year, so they're not available. The other thing that won't be available in terms of the information that is normally around for external assessments are the examiner reports, and they usually get produced for each unit every year and go through the details of how students have responded, and it generally includes some exemplars and things like that, and commentary. So as is, again, the assessments weren't sat, they're not available as well. And then the other things that aren't available are the services that we normally offer in our post-results period. So access to scripts, it won't be available because obviously there are no scripts or responses to look at. And also reviews of marking and moderation, that process to review marks or grades for external assessments won't be available as well, again, because those assessments haven't been set. There is an appeals process that was outlined by Ofqual, and they have confirmed that a student who had evidence of bias or discrimination would be able to raise this with their centre, and an exam board could then investigate that and investigate the evidence, but that would be considered more of a malpractice investigation rather than an appeal. Ofqual also decided that as now centres must have a procedure which allows students to request that review is conducted about the centre's decision. It's not to appeal to an exam board. So the appeals are based around where a centre believes that the centre's made a mistake or an error when submitting the information to the exam board, or if the centre believes the exam board has made a mistake when calculating, assigning or communicating a grade. And there's further information about the appeals on the Pearson website as well. So for BTECs, we will be issuing you with a report on the 12th of August, so just before the results, to help you understand the calculated results for your centre, and that will give an outline of the grades that have been adjusted, as well as the historical data for your centre, and that will help inform the calculations that we've done for your centre. And so that is then information that's visible to you and to allow you to see the processes that we've gone through to inform any possible appeals that you may consider as well. So the appeal service is expected to open from the 13th of August, which is the point when all the level 3 results will be issued. And also at that point, you'll have all the information available to inform any decisions that you're making around appeals. So we're currently finalising that process with JCQ and other awarding organisations, but as I've already said, it will be in line with the outcomes of the Ofqual consultation. So having a brief look forward into next academic year as well, and after learners have received results, for internally assessed units, resubmissions are possible. So learners will be granted an opportunity to resubmit internally assessed units where they've received a calculated grade for that unit. But we will be giving more information and further guidance about that process and how that will be conducted closer to the start of next academic year. The other thing to say is obviously that external assessments can be reset when the next window is for that unit as well. When it comes down to calculating the overall grade for the qualification. If they've had a calculated grade for an external assessment and they've resat the assessment, it will be the best result that will count towards the overall qualification calculation as well. Okay, so really now it's just time for any questions that you have around this. It's really just a short session to share some of the information that's around to help you prepare for results day and know where to find some of this information as well. Someone has just asked about explaining about the resubmission again. So essentially is if a learner has received a calculated grade for an internally assessed unit, a learner will have the opportunity to have a resubmission for any units where they have received a calculated grade for an internally assessed unit. But the process and the way to conduct that resubmission, we will be giving more information nearer the beginning of next academic year. So really now, as I said, if you do have any questions, I'm happy to answer and clarify anything that you do have there. So someone arrived a little bit late. Do CAG get released earlier than external? So yeah, so internally assessed units that have received centre assessment grades, it's a rolling process that has started actually this week and will continue into August as well. So on edXL Online, you will start to see some of those internally assessed units that received a centre assessment grade having that confirmed in edXL Online. And then the external assessments and the overall qualification grades will be released on the results day. So Thursday the 13th of August and for level 3, and Thursday the 20th of August for level 2. Someone saying that they think their internal units may already be on there. Do they show next to the candidate as normal? Yes, I believe they do. They should just look like normal results in edXL Online once things have been confirmed. And it should probably confirm that it's released or something like that in there as well. Okay, so on this slide is just some contact information and where to find some more information really as well. So there's my Twitter, there's a link to our contact portal, so for email or live chat. There's a link to signing up to my updates as well, and you can fill that form in that's linked there. And there's also a link to the music community pages, as I said, where I will post a recording of this session as well. Can you just clarify what happens again with learners who have not yet completed a mandatory unit yet? Are their CAGs held until Unit 1-2 complete? Okay, so I'm not sure which qualification you're talking about, but it's a very similar process for all of them. So there is a minimum threshold of internally assessed units that need to be completed in order to calculate an external unit grade. Okay, it's first award. So in terms of the first award, in order to calculate the grade for Unit 1, the exam, we would have to have a minimum of 25% of the internal assessment completed, and that must include a mandatory unit. So therefore, in the first award case, that is Unit 2 needs to be completed before the calculated grade for the external unit can be confirmed. And that Unit 2 would need to go through the standards verification process this year as well. Well, next academic year as well. Whereas if they'd received a centre assessment grade for Unit 2 this year, that would have counted as being complete, and a grade calculated for that as well, for Unit 1. So any news on Component 2 to be completed during lockdown, Learning A and B to start in Year 11? I know that this is one thing that centres have been asking about. I've got no further news to really confirm at the moment, although the one thing that I can say is we are aware of it. We are working with Ofqual. There plans to be some guidance coming out around the results days for all qualifications, all BTEC qualifications, but we may not be able to confirm what mitigations there will be at that point, because we may still have to get things confirmed with Ofqual. So I think the plan is, if we can't confirm it, then there is still possibly some information that will come out then around what mitigations may happen for all these qualifications, including this situation with the TEC awards. And then probably early in September, once Ofqual have confirmed our approach and what we're planning to do, we can then let centres know what will be happening in those cases. That's the latest kind of information I have around that at the moment. So really, it's looking out for this information that will come out around the results days. That's the plan. And then there should be these any changes confirmed maybe around then, depending on how long this process takes with Ofqual as well. If not, it's likely to be early September by the look of it. Okay, so if there are no more questions coming in, just want to say thank you very much for your time. I hope you found this session useful, and you've got a roughly 10 minutes back of your day, and hopefully you can go and enjoy the sunshine.